Have you ever noticed your child suddenly becoming completely obsessed with dinosaurs? Maybe they wake up talking about T-Rex. Maybe they go to sleep asking about Triceratops. Maybe they have memorized the names of 47 different species and can pronounce Pachycephalosaurus perfectly, but still cannot tie their own shoes. And maybe somewhere in the back of your mind, you have been quietly wondering, is this normal? Is this too much? Should I be redirecting them towards something more educational? Here is what I need you to hear right now, before you do anything to interrupt or redirect that obsession. Your child's dinosaur phase is not just a phase. It is not just a cute fixation that will pass. What is actually happening inside your child's brain right now during this dinosaur obsession is something that child development researchers have studied for decades, and what they have found will completely change the way you see every dinosaur book, every dinosaur toy, and every dinner table conversation about whether a Spinosaurus could beat a T-Rex. Stay with me, because this one is going to surprise you. If your child has ever corrected you on the difference between a Brachiosaurus and a Brontosaurus, if they have ever woken you up at 6 a.m. to tell you that the T-Rex had tiny arms but could still crush a car with its bite, if dinosaurs are literally the first word out of their mouth in the morning and the last word before they close their eyes at night, then this video is going to change everything about how you see that obsession. Because most parents do one of two things when the dino phase hits. They either buy every dinosaur toy in existence and smile through the 100th dinosaur fact of the day, or they quietly start to worry. Is this too much? Is my child too fixated? Should they be interested in other things? And I am here to tell you that if you have had that worry even once, you need to hear what researchers at some of the world's leading child development universities have discovered about children who go through intense obsessive interest phases, exactly like the dinosaur phase. Because what is happening inside your child's brain right now is not just fascinating. It is one of the most powerful indicators of future intelligence, emotional strength, and lifelong learning ability that child psychology has ever identified. And it is happening right there, in your living room, over a plastic Stegosaurus. Welcome to Parenthood Unlocked, the place where we do not just talk about raising children, we talk about understanding them. Because there is a massive difference between a parent who manages their child's behavior and a parent who actually understands what's driving it. Today, we are going deep into something that millions of parents around the world are living through right now, without realizing what a gift it actually is: the dinosaur phase, or as researchers call it, an intense childhood interest period. In this video, I am going to walk you through exactly what is happening inside your child's brain during this phase, what specific brain regions are being developed and strengthened, why this obsession is one of the healthiest things that can happen to a young child's developing mind, and most importantly, what you as a parent can do right now to maximize every single benefit this phase is quietly building in your child. By the end of this video, you are not going to see the dinosaur books piled on the floor as clutter. You are going to see them as the most powerful brain development tools in your entire house. Let's get into it. Before we get into what the dinosaur phase is specifically doing to your child's brain, let me first explain why intense childhood obsessions happen at all, because this is the part most parents never get told, and it changes everything. Child development researchers at the University of Indiana conducted a landmark study on what they called intense interests in young children. What they found was extraordinary. Children between the ages of 2 and 6 who develop deep, passionate interests in a specific subject show significantly stronger conceptual thinking skills, greater ability to process complex information, higher attention spans, and more advanced reasoning abilities than children who do not develop these intense interests. But here is the part that really matters. It is not the dinosaurs specifically that are building these skills. It is the depth of the interest itself. When your child becomes obsessed with dinosaurs, their brain enters what neuroscientists call a deep learning state. This is the same cognitive state that the world's greatest scientists, artists, engineers, and thinkers operate in when they are doing their most powerful work. Your child is not playing. Your child is in a full, deep learning state for hours every single day. Think about what that means for a developing brain that is forming 1 million new neural connections every single second. Every time your child picks up a dinosaur book, their brain is not just absorbing facts about prehistoric creatures. It is building the neural architecture of deep, focused learning itself. It is training the prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain responsible for focus, planning, decision-making, and emotional regulation. It is literally building the thinking infrastructure your child will use for the rest of their life. Now, here's what makes the dinosaur phase specifically so powerful compared to other intense interests. Dinosaurs are uniquely complex as a subject. They span multiple disciplines simultaneously: biology, geology, history, physics, geography, anatomy, evolution. When your child learns that a T-Rex lived in the late Cretaceous period, they are absorbing concepts of time that most adults struggle to grasp. When they learn that dinosaurs went extinct because of an asteroid impact, they are processing cause and effect on a geological scale. When they memorize the difference between a carnivore and a herbivore, they are developing classification and categorization skills that are foundational to scientific thinking. Your child is not just learning about dinosaurs. Your child is learning how to learn. And that skill, that one skill right there, is worth more than anything they will ever learn in a classroom. Now let's talk about something that is going to make your jaw drop a little, because this is the benefit that surprises parents the most when I share it with them. Your child's dinosaur obsession is building one of the most sophisticated vocabulary of any child their age. And I am not talking about knowing the word dinosaur. I'm talking about Pachycephalosaurus, Ankylosaurus, Parasaurolophus, Archaeopteryx, words that most adults cannot pronounce, words that have more syllables than most sentences a typical 3-year-old speaks in an entire day, words derived from ancient Latin and Greek roots that form the foundation of scientific and medical language used by professionals around the world. A study published in the journal Child Development found that children who develop intense interests in complex subjects like dinosaurs show vocabulary development that is on average 2 full years ahead of their peers in the same age group. 2 full years. That means a 5-year-old in a deep dinosaur phase is showing the vocabulary sophistication of a 7-year-old. But here's what makes this even more remarkable. It is not just the size of the vocabulary that grows, it is the quality of it. Dinosaur names are not random words. They are derived from classical languages. Tyrannosaurus comes from the Greek words meaning tyrant lizard. Triceratops means 3-horned face. Velociraptor means swift thief. When your child learns these names, they are unconsciously absorbing the building blocks of etymology, the study of word origins, the same skill that makes children exceptional readers, writers, and communicators throughout their entire academic life. Watch your child talk about dinosaurs sometime. Really watch them. Notice how they naturally use complex sentence structures. Notice how they explain cause and effect. Notice how they compare and contrast different species. Notice how they argue their case when you suggest that a Brachiosaurus might have been smarter than a Stegosaurus. They are not just talking. They are constructing arguments, building narratives, using evidence to support conclusions. These are the exact language skills that Harvard's Center on the Developing Child identify as the strongest predictors of academic success throughout school and beyond. Dr. Patricia Kyle, a leading developmental psychologist at Purdue University, found in her research that children who are given the freedom to talk extensively about their intense interests develop elaborate language patterns significantly faster than children whose interests are redirected or minimized by well-meaning parents. Elaborate language patterns are the difference between a child who says, "the dinosaur was big," and a child who says, "the Brachiosaurus was one of the largest land animals that ever existed, and it had a very long neck so it could reach leaves at the tops of the tallest trees." Your child is already speaking in elaborate language patterns every single time they tell you about dinosaurs, and every single time you listen, every single time you ask a follow-up question, every single time you let them teach you something you already know. You are accelerating that language development in ways that no flashcard, no educational app, and no structured lesson plan ever could. The most powerful language development tool your child has right now is their dinosaur obsession, and you, listening to every single word of it. Now, this is the one that nobody talks about, and it is the one that moved me the most when I first discovered it in the research. Because when most parents think about dinosaurs, they think about science. They think about facts and figures and prehistoric creatures. They do not think about emotional intelligence. But here is what the research actually shows, and it is remarkable. Dr. Thalia Goldstein, a developmental psychologist at George Mason University, spent years studying what happens to children's emotional development when they engage in deep pretend play and role play around subjects they are intensely passionate about. What she found was that children who regularly engage in dinosaur roleplay, who pretend to be dinosaurs, who act out dinosaur scenarios, who imagine what it felt like to be a T-Rex hunting for food or a small plant-eating dinosaur trying to survive in a dangerous world, are developing something extraordinarily powerful. They are developing the neurological capacity for perspective taking, and perspective taking is the single most foundational skill of emotional intelligence. When your child pretends to be a velociraptor hunting prey, they are doing something their brain finds deeply compelling. They are inhabiting a perspective that is completely different from their own. They are asking their brain to simulate what it feels and thinks and experiences like to be something entirely other than themselves. And their brain cannot tell the difference between pretending to be a velociraptor and pretending to be another human being with different feelings and experiences. The neural pathways being built during dinosaur roleplay are the exact same neural pathways that later allow your child to say, "I wonder how my friend felt when that happened to them," or "I can see why you were upset even though I see it differently." These are the neural pathways of empathy being built right now over plastic dinosaurs on your living room floor. Dr. Carol Dweck, whose groundbreaking research on growth mindset has shaped education systems around the world, found that children who experience genuine mastery in any area develop what she calls a mastery orientation toward learning. A mastery orientation means your child begins to believe at a deep neurological level that effort leads to knowledge, knowledge leads to competence, and competence leads to confidence. And that belief, once it is built during the dinosaur phase, does not stay only in the world of dinosaurs. It travels with your child into every classroom, every challenge, every difficult moment they will ever face in their entire life. Dr. David Sobel at Brown University found that children who engage deeply with the concept of dinosaurs are actually processing one of the most complex emotional and philosophical concepts a young mind can encounter: impermanence. The idea that even the mightiest, most powerful creatures that ever walked the earth are gone, that nothing lasts forever, that the world changes in ways that are beyond our control. Children who engage with this concept deeply through the dinosaur phase show greater emotional resilience, greater ability to cope with loss and change, and a more mature understanding of the natural cycles of life than children who do not engage with these ideas until much later. Your child asking you why the dinosaurs died is not a simple question about geology. It is your child beginning to process one of the deepest truths of human existence, and doing it in the safest possible way, through the story of creatures they love, that they will never have to lose personally. Now, let's talk about what you can actually do as a parent to maximize every single one of these benefits, because the dinosaur phase will not last forever. Research shows that most intense childhood interest phases last between 6 months and 3 years, and the parents who understand what is happening during this window and intentionally lean into it give their children a developmental advantage that carries forward for the rest of their academic and emotional life. Tonight at dinner, ask your child one genuine question about dinosaurs that you actually want to know the answer to. Not a test question, a real curious question. Watch what happens to their face when they realize you actually want to know. This week, find one subject your child is learning or needs to learn and find a dinosaur connection to it. Counting, spelling, geography, science, there is always a bridge. Use it. Starting today, when your child tells you a dinosaur fact, resist the urge to move the conversation along. Stop what you are doing, make eye contact, and say, "Tell me more about that." Those 4 words tell your child that their passion is worthy of your full attention, and that message builds more confidence than almost anything else you can do as a parent. This week, say one identity statement to your child that connects their dinosaur passion to who they are as a person. You have such a powerful memory. You are someone who really loves understanding how things work. You are the kind of person who never stops being curious. Mean it. Say it like you mean it, and watch it land. Remember, every child moves through this phase differently. Some dino phases last 6 months, some last 3 years. Some children move from dinosaurs to space, to ancient Egypt, to marine biology, in a beautiful chain of intense interests that builds and builds on itself. Whatever the subject, whatever the obsession, whatever the phase your child is in right now, the same principles apply. Their passion is not a distraction from learning. It is the most powerful form of learning they will ever do. I want to hear from you in the comments right now. What is your child currently obsessed with? Is it dinosaurs? Is it space? Is it trains? Is it a specific animal or a specific time in history? Tell me below, because I genuinely want to know. And tell me one thing from this video that surprised you the most about what that obsession is doing to your child's brain. I read every single comment, every single one, and I love hearing from real parents who are in the middle of these phases right now, just like you. If this video changed the way you see your child's obsession today, please hit the like button right now. And subscribe to Parenthood Unlocked if you have not already. I am here going deep into the real science of child development and turning it into practical, honest advice that real parents can actually use. And go and watch our video on 5 morning habits that strengthen your child's brain, because everything we talked about today connects directly to what we cover in that video. Link is in the description right below this one. Your child's dinosaur phase is not just a phase, it is a window. A powerful, fleeting, extraordinary window into one of the richest periods of brain development your child will ever experience. And now you know exactly how to use it. I will see you in the next one.